Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Shay Ali here with you on Inspired Online. And today we go all the way out to LA, stroke Australia, kind of, but LA really, for the lovely Sandra Biskind. Now, if you've not met Sandra before or experienced her work, she is a beautiful human being who does very special healing techniques with people. So during lockdown and actually out of lockdown, she's been doing a various amount of healing meditations for the world, for individuals. She's got her platinum system, which she uses to heal those things in life that maybe you don't quite know that that's what's stopping you, but it can really propel you forward. And she's someone that can really dig deep inside to find out what those things are. So fascinating body of work, obviously very gifted in the work that she does. Personally recommended by Jack Canfield, actually. He's also one of the many fans of her work, and I love her too. She's such a beautiful human being and such a lovely friend also. So welcome, Sandra. Thank you for coming online today with me.
I must say, it's just amazing to be here with you. Isn't it wonderful that we can be on opposite sides of the world and we can still have this, beautiful conversation and have people join us? It's quite exciting.
Yeah, I love that as well, and it's really good to connect with you again, because it's been a while since you've been to London or I've been to LA. But I will start this interview by the question that I ask all our speakers, which is, if you had to share your wisdom with the world in a nutshell, what would you say?
Oh, how beautiful. I would say that it's really important to understand that your thoughts are 95% coming from the unconscious mind, and that the most important thing that you can do is to actually dig into the unconscious and find out what it is, what's the event, emotion, and decision that is sabotaging you. Because once you do that, that's how you get free to grow, to evolve, and to have more love, more joy, more wonder, more money, more of every good thing.
So if you're like on the start of this journey of discovery, and I always like starting from this place because there's some people that have never really thought about that before, how would they start by going back to an event that might be sabotaging them? Because
Yeah, well, honestly, if we're talking this lifetime, it's easy.
Okay,
if we're talking this lifetime, one of the things that I do with people, and you can obviously do this on your own, is that you actually sit down and become the silent observer. So in other words, you're not going to get hooked into something, but you're going to go back to a time and event where something actually hurt you. So an event where you had an emotion attached to it, and that emotion, during that time, you made a decision. So this discovery exercise that you would be doing, which is what I do with all of my clients, is discover the decisions that you made, because those decisions that have an emotion attached to them, they actually get locked into your DNA and they become an unconscious program. So when you're least expecting it, someone could send you an email with something in it. Your partner could leave the dishes out on the sink. Somebody could say something. You might not get the interview. You might get passed over for a promotion. Something will happen and it will trigger off this decision that is still in your DNA. Now, by the way, these decisions have definitely been passed down to you from your ancestors as well, your parents, grandparents, etc. This is such an exciting moment in time because science is actually proving all of this spiritual knowledge that I've had for the last 40, 50 years. They're proving it to be true. So you're actually running with programs and ideas that come down from your ancestors, as well as your own conditioning and your own emotional trauma. And if you think about, no one goes through life unscathed. We all have the events where they've really hurt us on some level. And sometimes it's not even a big hurt. It could be just a little hurt. But when we make a decision like, oh, they've abandoned me, I'm not good enough. Oh, they've just stabbed me in the back. Oh, I don't deserve love. So all of these decisions, they're tiny little decisions that you think are they're nothing. But
Mm.
they are the things that sabotage everyone's ability to be successful and happy.
Wow.
And so if you really, really want to move out of the negative mind chatter and remove the unconscious programs that stop you from having the best to be and live as the best version of you, then it's really important to start looking at the deepest work you can look at. So I understand that mind therapy, just therapy, normal talk therapy is brilliant and actually has the most fabulous results.
Yeah.
However, you'll still have within you these unconscious programs. I have had people who have been in therapy and worked on issues for 40 plus years. And then they have a session or they do an event with us and they go, oh, hang on a minute. For the first time I feel free. I'm no longer attached to the emotion or the story. So if we understand that we've got emotional stories locked into our system that we don't even know are there. So actually it's not even your fault.
Yeah.
It's just that now that you know that that's how it works, now it becomes your problems to solve. Yeah.
Yeah. And you said that some of these decisions are so innocuous that we might not even realize that they're affecting us. So I guess if you're just starting to do this inquiry within yourself, how do you know what are those decisions? Because there might have been a series of events that really hurt you.
Yes, it is usually a series of events, and
Yeah.
that's what happens. The decisions get compounded, and then every time an event happens and that same decision comes up, you go, oh, there, I knew that was the truth. I knew I wasn't good enough. The two major decisions after working with thousands of people around the world, and honestly, you would think that this would not be the case, but the case is I'm not enough, I'm not good enough, and I don't deserve love. Now, they're really innocuous because most people logically don't think that.
Yeah.
Logically, they don't think, oh, I'm not enough, or I'm not good enough, or I don't deserve love. But every time a partner snubs you, or every time, your parent says something to you that hurts you, that program is in there going, oh, I know this one. And you become sadder and you start doubting yourself. There's a lack of confidence. And there's a really easy way to know if you're being hooked in to a past program. This is really important. If you're feeling fear, negativity, or pain, so these are the three things. If you're feeling fear, negativity, or pain, then you know that you have an unconscious program that has just been triggered and that you need to look at, okay, what's the fear? What's going on? And this is a beautiful way of becoming aware of how you operate, of how your mind operates. Yeah.
And can you resolve that in the moment? So I guess if one were really conscious about it and you think, oh, I'm feeling fear or I'm feeling negativity right now, how would you resolve that in the moment so it doesn't become part of your DNA?
Well, there's three ways that we use, and they're absolutely stunning, and they're efficient, they're fast, and they're so effective. They work every time. And we've created a body of work called the Platinum Life System.
Yes.
And this system is revealed in our new book, Codebreaker, Discover the Password to Unlock the Best Version of You. And we're actually teaching it at the moment, going through every Saturday afternoon, which is really lovely. When I say we're teaching it, people are having the experience of it, because we know that the way you learn something and the way you move forward and adapt and align with it is to have the experience of it. So let's say that peace is one of your master superpowers and it's our natural state. But we get knocked out of peace all the time by fear, negativity, and pain. Yeah. And peace, by the way, is the P in platinum. It's the first aspect of platinum. Now, if you've got someone in your life that you haven't forgiven, you are never, ever going to come to this place of peace. There's always going to be mind chatter around the fact that you've been a victim, that something terrible has happened, that you can't forgive them, you can't let it go. And we've developed with the Platinum Life System 3 tools. One of them is the 4 questions.
Okay.
And the 4 questions works for everyone. Have you experienced the 4 questions, Shay?
I don't think I have actually. I
Okay.
remember you explaining the platinum system, but I don't know if you've asked the 4 questions. So
Okay. So the 4 questions for everyone, this is going to be a lifesaver for you. It was for me. I came across this system when I was 27 years old. I'd just come out of an abusive marriage. My businesses were failing because there was a global financial crisis and all sorts of things were going on.
wow.
So that 27-year-old really needed help. And the way I was showing up in my business with my staff, I was not aware that I was affecting them the way I was, until one day one of them came to me and said, "Gee, Sandra, we're walking on eggshells around you at the moment." And rather than going into victim mode and saying to them, "Well, hang on, this is what I'm going through," every morning before I went into my business, I took a deep breath. I sat in my car, took a deep breath, and I asked myself 4 questions. And I said, "Okay, what am I feeling?" So this is the awareness and the mindfulness. What am I feeling? And I was like, okay, so I'm feeling unsupported, alone, angry, unhappy. What am I focused on? Number 2.
Yeah.
I was focused on the fact that I had suppliers ringing me for money every half hour that I didn't have. I was embarrassed and I was ashamed. And I didn't want to go to work. And then number
we
3,
get that.
yeah, right. And then number 3 is, what do I want to feel? Now that was an easy one. Wow, I just want to feel at peace and happy, and I want to feel really happy to go to work again and to be in my businesses. And then number 4 is, what focus will serve that? And it was like, okay. And the penny dropped.
Yeah.
And I went, wow, I need to focus on the gratitude and the love I have for my staff, the fact that I was creative enough to open these businesses, that I had them, grateful for all of my customers, and even grateful for the suppliers who were calling me, asking me for money. And what that did was it changed my frequency. So when I got out of my car and walked into the boutiques, I was walking in as a very high frequency being. In other words, this happier, more peaceful being. I was able to talk to my staff in a way that they could hear me. Clients were coming out of the woodwork going, "Wow, it feels so good in here."
Nice.
And the suppliers, when they called me, I would say to them, "Look, the fact is that I don't have the money, otherwise you would have it. But I promise you that at the end of every week, whatever I do have, you will get a part of that."
Wow.
And because I was in that very high frequency state, they trusted me, which is the T in platinum, and they could feel the integrity behind what I was saying, which is the I in platinum.
Wow.
So I got myself to this place of peace. I forgave myself for being in that situation.
Yeah.
Right. I totally was like, and also I forgave the suppliers for doing the job that they were doing, the accountants, by calling me.
Yeah.
I didn't even need to forgive my staff for confronting me, because I felt blessed that they had, because they allowed me to change something that if I hadn't have changed, I would not have been able to adapt and align with the best version of me. So the 4 questions I've used with business people all around the world, and obviously all people. So it's, what am I feeling? What am I focused on? What do I want to feel? And what focus will serve that? And by the time you get to the answer number 4, which, by the way, it's the answer to number 4 is the ultimate result. What do you really want?
Yes, it is.
By the time you get to that, yes, you've dug into your thought system, you've dug into your emotions, you know exactly what you want, and then you've been given that guidance in number 4 is how to get it. So I would say that the 4 questions would be one of the most wondrous tools. It took me from, being this 27-year-old who was completely down and out to being a self-made millionaire by the age of 30.
Wow.
Because I mastered the art of changing my frequency, showing up as the best version of me, and every time I was out of balance, I used the 4 questions.
Amazing.
So, right? Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. It's part of the system. The other part is take yourself into a guided visualization.
Okay.
And honestly, this is easier when someone's doing it for you.
Yes, I
and
would
it's
imagine.
something that I have definitely mastered over the last few decades of being able to, tap into the people I'm working with and know where to take them for them specifically. And when you discover the event and emotion and decision for yourself, you then have the opportunity to change it. Now, that might sound weird, but we're quantum beings, we're energy beings, right? Nikola Tesla, who is the man who was known as the genius who lit up the world, he said that if you want to know the secret and meaning of life, you have to first discover energy, frequency, vibration, right? So we know that we're nearly 99.9% energy, and that we exist in a quantum reality. And the fact is that you can use your imagination and your mind to change the past on a quantum level. And we're doing this with our clients and students every day. And they are in awe of the fact that they go from feeling completely out of balance, in fear, worried and anxious, even suicidal, to feeling, oh, wow, this deep peace. So really, there are so many ways, and I think finding people who have discovered ways to get you there, and that's our job, right? And other people have lots of other different tools, but they're the tools that we use. And it's very interesting. When we wrote Codebreaker, it took us 5 years, and the reason why it took 5 years was because we actually spent a lot of that time working with people to gather empirical research to see, okay, what are the results? If we're saying in this book, this is what happens when you do this, then we wanted to know that that was exactly what was going to happen.
Right. Absolutely.
So tested and true.
Yeah. So a few questions coming on the back of that. I'll go back to one of the first things you said, which was about the 4 questions. And it's about that question number 4. How do you need, or what focus would best serve you feeling the way you want to feel? I've obviously rephrased that a little bit. Now, if someone is really caught up in the past, it can be arguably difficult to just change your focus to something that will serve how you want to feel, because there'll be a part of you that perhaps just can't let whatever it is that's bothering you go. What would you tell somebody in that space? How can they let it go?
You're going to laugh. I'm just going to say you have to come and work with us. Because what happens if you
That's an easy way.
Well, the thing is that if you can't get yourself there by asking the 4 questions, it means you probably need to do them again. There's probably somebody in your life that you need to forgive. And usually it's yourself, right? So you actually need to forgive yourself. And then the other key is, and I'm giving you a whole lot of really deep stuff here. The other thing is that you need to take radical personal responsibility for every single thing that has ever happened and every thought that you think. Now, let's go here, because that means that you are the director, the producer, the star. You're the writer, the script writer of your script, which is the movie of your life. And you have given that script to every being that has ever appeared to you. And they read it. By the way, some of them read it in award-winning style, and they need an Academy Award because they've hurt you so much. But if your unconscious mind is giving someone a script that says, I'm a victim, then people who are happy to work with victims and be in victims' lives as a bully, they will go, oh, there she is. Oh, there he is. I know this one. They don't deserve love. They're not good enough, right? Everything that they touch goes wrong. Oh, I know that one. Let's just go in and steal from them. Let's go in and have them fall in love with me, so I can walk out at a moment's notice. So your frequency, where you're at, what your thought process is, but unfortunately what your unconscious thought process is, again, what you don't know, is what is creating the frequency that attracts or or repels the people and events in your life. So when I say you have to take personal radical responsibility, it means please, please, please do what it takes. But when somebody hurts you, remember who set it up. It was your script. It was your frequency. So when someone hurts me now, I don't think, wow, you know, they're a bad person. I go, oh, so what's my story? Now, if you start saying, what's my story? You're going to get answers.
Yes.
You're going to go, oh, and the other thing you can do is follow the story back to its original source, right? And when you follow the original source back to that source, you go, oh, I get it. I remember when I was 5 and this happened.
Yeah.
Right? And all of a sudden, that decision that you made then will come into from the unconscious into the conscious, and you'll be able to deal with it. So there are ways that you can get into your own unconscious, but you have to be brave enough and courageous enough to want to go there.
Yes,
and
indeed.
Right. And this is what is so exciting. We get, you know, when I'm working with a client and we're doing live events, or at the moment, all online events,
Yes.
when somebody's talking to me, I'm always testing them to see if they stay strong or go weak. Now, Shay, you know this. When somebody lies to you, can you tell, you know, they kind of go a bit weak, don't they? And you feel, oh, hang on a minute, there's something not right here. Like we all know when someone's lying to us, really.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we do. And so what happens then is that they go weak and you go weak. But when you go weak, I get excited because I'm going, yeah, this is great. When one of my clients or students goes weak when they say something, it means we've actually discovered an unconscious program, and that's where we need to work. If you stay strong, then you're not dealing with an unconscious program, and we don't need to go there. And that's what is very exciting, is that there are markers all the way along when you're doing this mind training system that lets you know where you're at. And by the way, these are instant shifts, Shay. You don't have to wait 40 years or have 10 years of therapy. This is instant.
Thank God
shift.
for that.
Oh, well, you know what? Nobody wants that now. Do you know, we've taken our $2,500 legacy weekend Activate Enlightenment from 3 days live. We've actually now been divinely guided to take it down to 4.5 hour lots 4 Saturdays in a row. And if you had said to me 5 years ago, you're going to do this program in 4.5 hours 4 times, and I'd go, well, it's not possible. But you know what? It is possible. And people they've got limited time, although right now they've got a lot of time, limited time.
Some of us have and some of us don't, to be fair.
Well, that's right. So they've got, and even if you've got time, you know, even when you're busy, you will allocate 4.5 hours to make a massive shift that could have taken you 5 years. But 3 days is a bigger commitment. And so this is what's happening now, that what I'm finding is the world is changing. We're getting information faster. People are getting it faster. Like there's a transformation that's going on that is very exciting. You know, people who are on your show and listening to the Inspired Show with you, they're moving faster. And every time they listen to something that is a high consciousness educational training on any level, a high consciousness conversation, that's changing their frequency. That's allowing them to move forward. And that's really exciting. And there's more of that happening on the planet now than ever before.
Amazing. I wanted to take you back to the concept of forgiveness, because that's come up rather a lot in our conversation. And the concept of forgiving yourself, maybe others as well. How do you do that in a way that will really clear it from your system?
Yeah. You know, forgiveness is a big question.
I
always say that the whole world takes a deep breath when you forgive, because without forgiveness, we have war, right? That's all there is to it. And it's war within ourselves and war with our families and each other. So the concept is, and we know this to be true, that let's say that all humans are living by codes. And there's almost 8 billion people on the planet, so there's a minimum of 8 billion codes. But
Yeah.
we've broken this down to 2 codes. We call them the ego mind code and the divine mind code, or your true self code.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in the ego mind code, which is again really run by the unconscious, that's where we know fear.
Right.
In the divine mind code, which is really that intuition, our connection to source, it's when we're living as the best version of who we are. What would our true self do? That's love. So there's fear and there's love. So we're usually always operating out of one or the other.
Yeah.
Fear of who we are, what's going to happen to us. And obviously that's very primal, because when we were first on the planet, we were always in fear of the tiger or the or whatever the next danger. But as we've evolved and our frontal lobes are evolving, we're coming to this place where we understand the concept of love, of God, of source, of intuition, and that's where the love side comes in. Now, the ego mind will never ever forgive. So if you say to somebody, I mean, I've seen this in a playground where 2 boys have been having a bit of a punch up, and the teacher comes out and grabs them both and says to one of them, "You apologize, you have to forgive this boy." And the boy looks up and says, "I forgive you." And you know that there's no forgiveness there. It's just lip service. It's still judgment. And people are doing this every day, right?
Yes.
They're saying, "I forgive you," but deep down, the pain is still there. Only the true self can forgive, because the true self is that part of you that is your divinity, that has mastered the art of being the best version of you, which is this sovereign, divine, miraculous, wondrous being that you really are.
Yes.
Right? So don't expect your true self, your ego mind to forgive at all, which means that one of the best ways to forgive is to take yourself into a meditative state. And then I ask people to imagine a column of white light coming in and down and through them. Now, then I say, imagine that white light is your true self. It's perfect, it's divine, there's wisdom within it, there's a sacredness to it, and it is all wise, non-judgmental. So this is you. And from that place, imagine the white light coming into your heart center and allowing the heart to heal. So just moving the white light into your heart, and you actually feel, oh, okay, this feels really good. Yeah. And from this space, I then would ask you to imagine someone that has hurt you as a small child, like 2 or 3. They can hardly talk, very small child. They haven't been conditioned. They haven't got their programs running. There's more of a innocence to them. Their parents haven't abused them. They haven't been bullied. Whatever's going to happen to them hasn't happened yet. Yeah. So imagine that the person that has hurt you is a small child in front of you. And you scoop them up onto your lap, and they say to you, even if it's mind to mind, "I am so sorry that I have hurt you. Wow. Can you forgive me?" And you look into the eyes of that small child. Now, this could be your mother, your father, a sibling. It could even be yourself. And as you do that, from this place, you say, "Of course, I forgive you and I set you free." Now, there's a lot of guided visualizations that we've done around all of that. But if you can imagine the person that has hurt you as that small child, when you forgive them and set them free, you have actually set yourself free. Yeah. Forgiveness is enlightened self-interest, right? And there was a doctor who did a study at Harvard on forgiveness, and the heading was "Holding a Grudge Can Kill You." And they did a study of people who couldn't forgive and were not taken through any processes at all to get them to a place where they would. And then there was another group who were taken into these places and who did really and truly forgive and truly forgave themselves. the difference in the health and vitality and the happiness of those two groups was enormous. The group that couldn't forgive, they were developing cancer, colitis, Crohn's, heart disease, high blood pressure, you name it, diabetes, and desperately unhappy relationships and unhappy. The other group were happier, they had better relationships, better heart health, healthier full stop, their blood pressure was normal. Just imagine this, that when you are holding a grudge, when you can't forgive, the person that is hurting is you. And so, right, so now forgiveness becomes a very big subject. It's like, how much do I love myself? And do I love myself enough to allow myself to forgive the pain and the grief that I have felt because of my programs that actually interacted with their programs? Because this is the final thing I want to say about forgiveness. Well, not really ever, but today.
Today, for now.
Right. That you're not forgiving a person, you're forgiving their programs. And if you think about it that way, it makes it a lot easier, right? Because you understand that they've got their unconscious programs running the same as you. And when you put two lots of unconscious stuff going together, right, it's sometimes it just creates, sometimes there's going to be pain.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your time today. It's been obviously enlightening and fascinating. Before you go, do you have any final thoughts that you'd like to share with our audience?
Yes, I just want to remind everybody, and this makes me feel, who you are, right? You are a perfect, divine, high frequency being. And it's your job, especially now, to live that so that you can become part of the solution and find happiness and success on this planet in a time when the whole of humanity needs you to be that.
Indeed. Thank you so much. How can our beautiful audience get in touch with you if they wish to, or maybe even do the Platinum program that you're running right now?
That would be great. So live stream Saturdays, do you want me to, would you like me to send you the link? But the thing that they can do is if you go to our website, which is the Biskinds, TheBiskinds, thebiskinds.com. And on the biskinds.com, in the events page, they'll be able to see these live stream Saturdays. And Shay, I'll send you the link in case you want to put it in here and put it up for the people.
I will. So we'll share that with our viewers on facebook.com/inspired stage, and we'll tag you as well and mention thebiskinds.com. For everybody. And so thank you so much. Obviously, take care of yourself and your lovely husband as well. And I hope to
Shay, I just want to say what an honor it is to work with you on this level. I just love you from the depth of my heart. And I want to thank you for doing what you're doing. This is really important.
It's such a joy. And it's, you know, for people like you that I do it, and, you know, to inspire everybody else out there. So thank you very, very much. And I hope to see you again very, very soon.
Whenever you want, I'll be here.